All right. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Ashley Reese, and I'm an account executive here at FieldClock. I've been with the company for almost 2 years, and prior to that, I was farming apples and peaches in New Jersey. So I know firsthand some of the struggles that many of you are going with um, and face every day while you're trying to track time and attendance and piecework for your employees. So today we're going to focus on talking about FieldClock, a little bit about our system. If you're using pen and paper, what that would look like to switch to something like this. And then at the very end, I'll give you a quick demo of what that would look like for your employees. Hopefully, we'll be able to take a few questions at the end, but I look forward to working with you. If you have any questions, I'll also include my contact information for you. All right, let's get going. All right, cherry growers. Today we're talking about from pitfalls to profits and a little bit what we can do to help you streamline your operation. If you're unfamiliar, FieldClock is a time and attendance solution. It's app-based and it was created by farmers for farmers. And I really appreciate that we were created by farmers because ultimately we had a problem. Three individuals were going out every morning and trying to clock their people in and then using pen and paper to capture piecework. And many of you know that that's very, very time consuming and there's a lot of room for human error. By having this problem, we were able to create a solution that worked so well on that farm, where they then started passing it out to their neighbors to see if it worked for them. And sure enough, it did. And even though we started building FieldClock back in 2015, we were up and running and had a fully fledged operation in 2017. This has always been solely focused about farmers for farmers, and I'm very proud to say that we keep you in mind when it comes to pricing, when it comes to ease of use, and finding ways that we can help. So a little bit more of our timeline. I'll call out two things here. Although we work with over 36 payroll systems, in 2024, last year, we partnered with ADP. A lot of the feedback that we had gotten from our customers and from farmers all across the country was that they struggled with their payroll system. It was hard to manually enter information like piecework with QuickBooks. They had a lot of rounding errors. Sometimes payroll systems or companies didn't even understand what a 943 tax filer is. Oftentimes when they would call, they would get somebody else on the phone and they were speaking to different people all the time and nobody really understood them or knew who they were. So I'm proud to partner with ADP. We have that embedded right in our system, and I'll touch base on that a little bit more later. But I'm really proud to partner with them to give our small farmers a really, really affordable way to track time and attendance and then pay their people in a way that makes sense. The other call out I'd like to make, last fall, we officially announced our partnership with Farm Bureau. We are a member benefit in over, I believe it's 15 states now. And I couldn't be more excited. Again, FieldClock is created by farmers for farmers, and we really do keep you in mind. And we know how important your Farm Bureau membership is, and we'd like to thank you for that by giving you a monthly credit. Now, as I mentioned, we are a member benefit for Farm Bureau in 15 states. However, FieldClock operates in 27 states. And although we started off focused on piecework, cherries, pears, and apples, we now work with crops of every kind, small family ranches with cattle, grain, silage, all the way up to really large farms that are doing exclusive piecework and just a lot of manual labor. So regardless of the shape or size of your operation, We have a really flexible system in place that allows you to tailor your experience so that it fits for your unique operation. Like I mentioned earlier, we created a solution for a problem, which was pen and paper. And pen and paper, if you think about it, it's just timekeeping. So are you having your people write on time cards every day? Are they using a punch system that doesn't go anywhere where you have to extract or export that information and then enter it manually? How are you handling your customer or your employees' hours? A lot of the times you're having to calculate really difficult things like minimum wage calculations, piecework break pay, things like that. And if you're doing this with pen and paper, the chances are that there are a lot of unintentional errors that happen. And for most of us, although we don't feel like it's an error, a lot of us will overinflate our employees' hours because they don't fill them out all the way, and it's time to run payroll, and maybe they're not responding to your call or your text to be able to confirm what time they left last week. And as a result, we're overinflating their hours because it's less work for us. But now, with regulations being what they are, we can't utilize overpaying our employees as an insurance policy. So we consider the cost of pen and paper to be a compounding problem, meaning the small problems with your employees not filling out their time cards at the very beginning makes you pay them more. It's not compliant because that's not the accurate time they clocked out. Now you have to take that information, manually enter it somewhere, whether that's on an Excel spreadsheet that has to somehow evolve and go through your season with you. That information is what you're using to pay your people, and how you pay them. Your payroll system ultimately impacts your taxes and your compliance. And again, I can keep going, but ultimately the small problems that you have just collecting time are going to compound and be more expensive to fix the farther along they get in your process. So FieldClock came up with a solution, an app-based solution, if you will, that makes it really, really easy for your people to clock in and clock out. They're also able to capture piecework and production. And because we're capturing that information, you're able to really funnel that labor expense. And what I like about our system is that we give you a number of ways for your people to clock in and clock out and to capture that piecework, primarily so it's easy for your employees to use, but also it allows us to be a flexible system that really does work with crops and farms of all shapes and sizes. So the first piece that we have, and just so you are aware, all of these features are available to you. We don't piecemeal them, so you're not having to buy separate modules. All of these things come right to you, and we'll meet to talk about what maybe works best for you and your team, because you have a unique operation with your own unique needs. So our mobile app can be used by the owner of a farm, a manager of a farm. You'll be able to see where your people are and what they're doing. For those farmers who maybe are working off farm, you can actually see what your manager, what your people are doing while you're at work. The app can be used by a crew boss, a supervisor, so that this way they can clock other people in and record piecework. It makes it really easy to move your people from task to task and capture that information in real time. The mobile app can also be used for individual employees that maybe don't start their day off at the shop or the office, where they start their day off at another location. It allows them to clock themselves in and out, and for you to have peace of mind knowing where they are when they started their day and ultimately what they're doing, but giving them the independence and autonomy to be able to move around throughout the day. Now, for standalone locations, for farm stands, for packing houses, for your shop where everybody comes in and has a cup of coffee in the morning, even those of you who, let's say, you have H2A housing and vans, if you wanted to start capturing time at those standalone locations where they can at least start their day, you're able to use our kiosk app. Now, both our mobile app and our kiosk app allows you to have your employee to clock in with badges, something like this. There are also other ways for them to clock in using a pin and photo on our kiosk app, but that's the primary method that we recommend for your employees to clock in. All this information has to come somewhere. And just a fun fact about our apps, we work offline as well. So let's say you're in a very rural area or you have spotty reception or connectivity. All of these apps, including the kiosk app, will continue to function, record time in, time out, record production. And as soon as that device reaches connectivity, we auto sync, meaning we're automatically going to pull the information back into our admin site. And if you've ever used a system like this that didn't work offline, you're not relying on your employees to remember to send you the information or push the information into the system. We're automatically going to do that for you. Now, our admin site, fieldclock.com, all of their information is going to be coming right to your fingertips. And we give you the ability to have multiple users interact with this system, both on the apps and the admin site. And what that means is that you can have your people or yourself, depending on your specific needs and the access you want to grant your employees, to be able to see your employees' hours, to approve their time, to approve their piecework, even to run reports that may be helpful for them and their jobs. And I'll get into reports a little bit later. The last piece is our proprietary employee portal. This allows your employees to use their cell phone number to clock into their profile to see their hours, their production. For those of you that are considering moving from pen and paper and you're paying piecework, that's a really big leap of faith. And we have this portal available for peace of mind so that this way it's an easier transition for your employees. Also, it allows you to prevent or really help prevent retroactive changes. So let's say your employee was reported for 5 bins when they actually did 6. They're going to let you know that you're underpaying them. And most likely they'll do it before you go to run your payroll, which is really helpful. So now if you've gone from pen and paper and you're considering this digitized system, what does this look like for you now? So now you have a really easy way for your people to clock in and clock out so that this way that information is coming right to you, to your fingertips. So instead of having to do those manual calculations to enter that information into Excel, all of that is right here for you. And we even make your real-time information, all of that data, exportable in so many ways. So now you'll have confidence knowing that all of your numbers are correct. And instead of maybe waiting to the end of the year to figure out your job costing, you know, how much did we spend in cherries versus pears? You're able to see that in real time and make some decisions quickly. By digitizing this process, we also streamline your payroll. Because we'll create CSV export files for your payroll, again, we work with over 3 dozen systems and we're able to create that file that you can upload into your system. You're reducing the chances of error. You're paying your people correctly, you're paying them quickly because you've reduced those calculations. And again, every step of the way where you can reduce human error, reduce the time it takes, you're going to make sure that your taxes are accurate, that you're compliant as well. And one thing I like about compliance is Many of you, I'm sure, have had a wage and hour come out, or an auditor of someone come out to your farm. It's really nerve-wracking to try to go and find an employee's time card. And if you're using pen and paper time cards and they're asking you about a specific date from last year, now you need to go and dig through that tub and find that rubber banded stack of time cards and really cross your fingers and think, oh man, I really hope that they filled out their time that day and I didn't guesstimate. Now with FieldClock, it's really easy just to go right into the admin site, go to that date and pull the information. And you have this person standing over you and you can say, here it is. This is what their hours were. I can send this to you. Would you like me to print a copy, or do you want me to email it to you? So it really, the faster you can get any inspectors off the property, you really want to do that. And you want to show transparency by taking them into the system and giving them what they're looking for quickly. Now, this is Blaine Smith, and he's talking about his bookkeeper really reducing her time. But this really speaks to me. And like I mentioned earlier, I was growing apples and peaches, and I was out there pruning and spraying and working with customers. But I also did the bookkeeping, and I was running payroll weekly. And when we were open, it was a pick your own operation. When we're open for the season, I started my day early and I ended it late. And oftentimes I wasn't coming home until 10 o'clock at night. And for me, a system like this would mean that I would be able to get home to my family a lot sooner because all of the numbers are in there. Or maybe I went home and actually approved hours from there. Because again, you're not working with a desktop system in one location. You can access this wherever you need to. Actionable data. For those of you who are harvesting cherries, you're going to be able to see how many pounds, lugs, bins, whatever you're picking into. You're going to be able to see that in real time. You're going to know what your labor expense is. You're going to be able to see how many hours your employees have worked this week. And for those of us who are having to pay overtime or want to prevent it, you'll actually easily be able to see where your employees' hours are at. So either one, you can forecast and budget, or two, try to let people go home early so that this way you don't have to accrue any overtime. There are so many ways that you can look at actionable data, but having all this information at your fingertips really makes that easy instead of an end of the year guesstimation. Labor law compliance, especially with farm labor contractors. I know that oftentimes we'll hire labor contractors and they're paying your employees directly. However, it would be nice to have full transparency as to their real-time production. It would be nice to be able to see what your employees are doing to ensure that all of the activities on the farm, the breaks that are taken, are compliant. Additionally, if you have access to this information, then you're able to make better business decisions instead of waiting for the labor contractor to send you their invoice and then you manually entering it in that way. You're able to see just how much you're spending in each block with each variety and really make better business decisions. Again, having that information at your fingertips, you're able to provide any documentation for people coming out to do audits or end of the year reports. So again, I understand if you're using a farm labor contractor, absolutely, but this may be something that would certainly help you and stay compliant, because we do know that, even though you have a labor contractor, we're all held accountable for bad records. All right, so FieldClock payroll, I mentioned this earlier, is really geared towards smaller farms. We wanted to make it easy for QuickBooks users who are really struggling with piecework to be able to have their time and attendance and pay their people in one place where they're able to auto-populate those numbers. Piecework is exceptionally challenging, even more so with a payroll system that doesn't quite understand it. So by partnering with ADP, a powerhouse within the payroll industry, we're able to give you peace of mind that your quarterly annual taxes are going to be done well, but that we still understand your operation. We know who you are, and you have a person to actually come and speak to. What I like about our partnership with ADP as well is that we are going to be your direct contact. Meaning if you have a question, you're going to come to us. You'll know who our team members are. They know who you are. And if we don't have the answer, we're able to utilize our direct channel with ADP to get those answers for you. And I like being asked questions that I don't know the answer to, because it gives me the opportunity to learn something new and have an answer for the next time I'm asked that question. So we're constantly building our frequently asked questions, if you will, so that this way we're better able to serve our customers moving forward. Again, payroll powered by ADP is really meant for smaller farms, but if this isn't interesting to you, definitely let me know, and we can really talk about what this looks like and how your farm fluctuates when it comes to your overall W-2s by the end of the year. All right, so that is the end of the slide portion. I am going to get my screen set up here and walk you through FieldClock. All right, so now that I have my screen back up, I'm going to walk you through creating a job, what that looks like, and we're going to focus on piecework. Now, the one thing I'd like for you to keep in mind is FieldClock is very easy to use. However, you can make it as simple as you'd like it to be or as tailored as you need it to be. So on the center of my screen, you're going to see my cell phone, which is our Field app. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a job by hitting this plus sign. From here, I'm going to select my location. So now, just to answer your question before you ask it, you can have as many ranches or locations as you need. So today we're going to be selecting pick and choose acres. We're going to be selecting our block. Now this is something that you can have or not, and this is all going to be customizable to you. So we're going to be working in our cherry block. We're going to be picking, and we can specify a variety. Now, we can also pay your people hourly, piecework, a combination of the two, and they can bounce around all day doing various tasks at various rates. But today we're going to focus on piecework. Now I'm going to tell my app what we're picking. So today we're going to be picking lugs. And if I had pay templates set up, this would auto-populate their piece pay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this set up so that this way, every time an employee walks up to a ticketer or their crew boss, they're going to scan their badge and they're going to get credit for one lug. Now, you can also do a variable quantity. So if your employees are coming up with flats or a quantity that depends on whatever they've picked, you can have variable quantities. So you can manually enter how many lugs or how many things they have in their hands that they're coming up with. The other feature as well is if you do picking as teams or groups, you're able to share the quantity. It's just another piece in our calculations that we're able to do for you. So you can certainly have your people work in a team so that this way you distribute their production and overall piece work equally. But today, again, we're going to focus on that one individual. The other thing we can do for traceability as well is our system allows you to connect that piece to your pre-printed tickets. So if you have a pre-printed ticket on your bin or your lug or whatever you're doing, we can connect those two for traceability. All right, so now that I have this all set up, I'm going to go ahead and click Done. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add employees to the task. So let's say I have a group of people, they're all getting out to the field. I'm going to go ahead and click on employees, and my screen is going to pop up. Now, just keep in mind, I'm doing this very slow so that you can see what I'm doing, but I'll do it a little bit faster in a moment so that you can really understand how flexible our system is and how quickly your team can operate with something like this. So the first thing I'm going to do is clock people in. Oh, that's my daughter, Charlie. Got some team members here. All right. So now that I've got everyone clocked in, please excuse me. You can see I have 4 active employees and we haven't picked anything yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to the tickets section, and this is where I'm going to start giving our employees credit. Now, another question you may be thinking is, do I have to clock them in and then start doing tickets? Actually, you can do both at the same time, and I'll show you that with our 5th person. So I'm going to click on tickets, and that screen's going to pop up. And now I'm giving credit to the employees. And now our 5th employee, I'm clocking in and scanning production all at the same time. So now you can see I have 5 active employees and I have 5 lugs. What's going to happen as I continue to talk and as we continue to pick, this overall number is going to start balancing out, and your crew boss, your supervisor, your ticketer is going to be able to see what your hourly production is. You also have the ability to take breaks. So whether that's a rest break, a lunch break, a heat illness break, shade break, whatever type of breaks you're recording, you're able to do that very easily here. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move our people from one location to the next. So I'm going to go back to all jobs, and I'm going to slide this over. And from here, I'm going to hit that plus sign. And now I'm going to move us from our cherry block, let's say, to our peach block. We're still picking. I'm going to change my variety. And again, I'm doing this pretty slowly. And now instead of lugs, we are going to pick bins. All right, so now I have this all set up. The most important thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to move all of my people with me. So again, they're going to be automatically clocked out of one job and into the other. And then I'm going to hit done. And now I've effectively moved everybody over. So what's happening now is it's giving me a low hourly score because none of my people have picked anything yet, but we're going to correct that right now. So we're going to move pretty quickly here by just hitting tickets and then going right through. So bear with me as I get my hands ready. All right. All right. So we've effectively moved our people. We've started gathering bins, and now that's going to average out. All right. So what does this look like on the back end? This is our admin site. So this is fieldclock.com, where you can access that wherever you would like to. So we've created a few different jobs today. Oh, please excuse me. I'm just trying to connect my phone here. So we've picked a few different things, and what I'm going to do is show you what that looks like on the back end. One of the jobs that I've created earlier was a pair job, but I just wanted to show you what that looks like from a production standpoint. You can see what time your employees clock in, what time they clock out, when they've taken breaks, and it also gives you this great illustration of how quickly your employees are moving. So this can actually be a really good cadence, or maybe it's not so great and Adriana's moving too fast. Maybe they need a little bit of a slower cadence like what Colton is doing. But this system really gives you some deep insight into your operation and to be able to really create expectations and training for your employee so you know how long a task should take. The other thing that we'll do is it breaks down your total hours, how many bins each person produced, and then how many bins per hour. And you can change all of those sorting features here. But overall, for this job, I had 9 employees. We had about 25 man hours. We produced 96 bins at $1.35, and this is my hourly production. So really awesome information. All right. The other thing that it is really easy to do in FieldClock is we make it really easy to make changes. So if I need to adjust an employee's time, I can do that individually. I can even change everyone's hours all at one time. Also, let's say there's a mistake on piecework somehow and we captured something we shouldn't, you can easily make that change and void things out. The last piece I'll show you here, now this is a simulated job, but as you can see, these are geopins, and this is going to show you where each piece was picked and who picked it. So every time your employee clocks in, clocks out, or records production, basically interacting with our system, there's going to be a geopin. We don't follow your employees around all day, but we do geopin every time that there's an interaction. So for those of you who maybe have independent employees that you've given the Roamer app, the mobile app to, you'll actually see where they were when they clocked in. So if they were grabbing coffee at the convenience store or actually where they were supposed to be. All right, so now that you have all this information, what can you do with it? Well, you can run payroll. And that is where we're going to be able to give you a CSV export file, or where you would be able to run payroll right here through ADP. But I'm going to jump to reports. So we started off with some really, really great basic reports. So crew level summaries, labor cost by field, overtime. We're going to break down your labor costs, and I'll show you what this looks like. But ultimately, you would choose a segment of time. And for this is my demo account, but you can see all of my different locations, the tasks that we do there, and what we spend on each of those tasks. And like I mentioned earlier, it's really easy for you to access your information, whether you want to copy it, print it, or export it. This information is yours, and we want you to be able to use it how you need to use it. The other piece of this is our report builder, and this is something new, and I'm pretty proud of it. So what we do is we will give you some front-loaded reports. So for instance, I can take you here and show my picking costs by block, my picking costs by ranch. This is a really great report. Again, this is a demo account, but it's going to show my total payouts, the ranch name, things like that. But with this report builder, not only do we create preloaded reports for you, we also give you the ability to create a customizable report. And this is something that our support staff will train you how to do and also help you with, even if you forget. So what we do here is you'll let us know what information you want to capture, ultimately how you want that to look, and then when you want to receive this information. And I really do like this feature because you can tell us when you want to receive this specific report and have it auto-generated. You can get it daily, weekly, monthly at a designated time. And you can even send it to some of your staff or whoever needs this report. So this way it'll really save you some time and you'll have that information right to you. Now, you can also check this box off so that this way, if there's nothing to report, you're not just getting another email. And I have my example of that report is I want to know when my employees reach 32 hours because I want to better manage my overtime. So as soon as my employee reaches 32 hours, I receive an email so that this way it can help me effectively maximize my labor costs or reduce them, control them, you name it. Okay. Now, the last piece I want to share, and there's a lot more to talk about with FieldClock, and I encourage you to give me a call, email me, text me, whatever you'd like to do, but reach out and we can talk about how this would work on your farm. But the last thing that I want to touch on are our H-2A wage statements. This is something new, and honestly, I'm really proud of. What we've done is by talking to customers all across the country, one thing that we have found is that they are struggling when it comes to H-2A compliance and their pay stubs. They are having to figure out how to create these pay stub companion worksheets that go with their pay stubs that designate where exactly work was being done on each day, their total hours offered, their total hours worked, and be able to break it down in a way that is compliant for H-2A guidelines. So this is very new for us, and it's something that you're able to print out with each of those payroll runs. So whether you're running payroll weekly, bi-weekly, you name it, we're going to provide these workers' wage statements for you, regardless of your payroll system. So if you have any specific questions about that, again, please ask, but I really think that this is a great addition. And again, and it's just another piece that's included in our system. Oh, right, Nico, that's about all I have.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. I'm going to look at our Q&A panel here, and thank you to all the folks that joined in today that were active in our panel. I'm going to pull the first one up here. So we have Lincoln. He's asking, do my workers need to be tech savvy to use FieldClock? That's usually one that we get from folks.
That's a great question. No, actually, they don't have to be tech savvy. So as I mentioned earlier, FieldClock was created by farmers for farmers. So we really kept that in mind. And, you know, the average age of a farmer, I believe, is now 64. And even though I'm sure a lot of you have cell phones and smartphones, your preference really isn't to use it, and we understand that. We also know that there's sometimes language barriers, and a lot of us are utilizing H-2A laborers. But FieldClock, what we've done is created an intuitive and easy to use system and app that has colors and icons, and it's just a streamless and easy to use system that for those, it's even easy for, oh, excuse me, I'm tongue tied. It's even easy for those of us who are not very tech savvy. And even more so, not only is our support staff American based, but they're bilingual, and our app is available in both English and Spanish. So if your employees phone or device is already in Spanish, our app will translate over. And a lot of time, or actually every time I work with a new customer, one of my recommendations is that if they give this app to one of their employees, that they also give our support contact information to them as well. We want to make sure that they know who to call and when to call, so that this way we can help them in real time.
Excellent. Thank you. Next one here, we have Sam. So she's asking, how long does it take to fully implement FieldClock on my farm?
Okay. That's a really great question. So the answer is we can move things along very quickly. We can help build your account quickly. However, even though we can build your account quickly, we feel that implementing FieldClock is a team effort. And we want to make sure that you give your employees enough time to acclimate to this change and this process. And that we can help along with that process. Again, the easier we can make it for the end user, for your employees, the more accurate your information is going to be, and the easier it's going to be for you. And we do understand that going from pen and paper to a digitized system does take a little bit of time. So I would give your team enough time to acclimate. However, that being said, we can push things along fairly quickly for you. So building your account, not that long at all, maybe a week. But to give your people some time, I'd say give them at least like a solid month to make sure that they feel comfortable.
Excellent. Last one here. So we've got Christina is asking, oh, I like this one. So we often move workers to a different job in the same day, and sometimes those jobs have different pay rates. So can FieldClock easily track that switch?
Absolutely. So on our mobile app, it's very easy to move your people from task to task. And every time you change the task, you can also change your pay rate. So whether you're paying hourly, piecework, a combination of the two. So not only is it easy to change it, but we also handle those back end gymnastics of putting their day together as part of our 42-page guideline of making sure that minimum wage adjustments and break pay are done correctly. And as far as their pay rates specifically, yes, it is something that can vary based on the task. One of the things that I would recommend is if you have a number of different pay rates based on your task or variety, that you really do consider our Pro plan. In our Pro plan, you can create pay templates that will auto-populate that information for you so that this way it's automatically done. Your employees are simply just clocking in, clocking out, and moving themselves around. And on the back end, it's really just easy to approve and finalize instead of having to put in a pay rate.
Excellent. Thanks, Ashley.
Well,
That is actually the last one that we have in our portal. So I want to thank everybody for using our Q&A panel.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your time. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'd be more than happy to meet with you and be a resource.